wait for some sock and roll. I don't usually eat the meat, and that
We have steak and taters.
to my fellow Indians out there, what is the word supportive? You gotta be careful with those white people out there. Indian family versus a white family.
This week, we are sharing our experiences growing up in the families that we did and talking about the differences between them. Okay, I came from a very traditional and obviously white family.
And I came from, you guessed it, an Indian family.
But mainly, we're going to be going through the fundamental differences of growing up in each of these cultures. And please be sure to comment down below if you resonate with any of these topics that we talk about today. With that being said, let's get into this Half Past crew.
Welcome to
Half Past Chai.
Welcome back to another episode, everybody.
Yeehaw!
So glad you're here.
Giddy up!
It is 4th of July, and that's why we're dressed the way we are. If you don't know who we are, my name is K2.
My name is Hallie.
And we are an interracial couple. If you can't already tell, I'm Indian.
I'm super, super white.
And we talk about these differences all the time.
And we're going to be talking about them a lot today as well. So thank you for choosing to spend your Monday with us. We greatly appreciate it.
We don't only do this, though. We have guests on sometimes. Sometimes we just have questions submitted by you, because you guys go to www.halfpastcha.com to submit your own questions and stories. And then we can respond to them and see them and talk about them and understand that we all have the same problems.
We're all relatable. We're all super relatable. We all got the same issues. We're all sad.
We release new podcast episodes every Monday at 7 a.m., very sharp. So you got to subscribe and like this video if you haven't already. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast, give us 5 stars and follow the podcast, because then when we post, you will be notified.
And you don't want to miss. I mean, come on. Come on.
Stick till the end of the episode, because we do cover the comments that you guys comment down below from the last video. So settle in, get cozy, and grab your cha.
All right, everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be talking about some of the key fundamental differences growing up in my very white family and
my very Indian family.
And, we thought with our demographic of people, we have a lot of Indian crowd, I would say. That's a lot of the people that watch this podcast. And we want to be relatable, all right? We want to talk, yes, about your experiences, but we also want to talk about my experience. And we have a lot of things today that we're going to be comparing and contrasting. And it's going to be a little bit of a funny conversation. So I'm ready for it.
I'm super excited. We're going to be covering things like mindset, communication style, parenting style, family structure, cultural practices, food, career, marriage, all of the big hitters.
All the big ones.
Oh, yeah.
All the big ones. And before we get started, I just want to mention as well, please join our Discord. We're really trying to connect more with our community on a deeper level, and join the Discord. We chat in there all the time. And also we have a Half Past Chai tab. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's like an idea board.
Yeah, it's like an idea board. So you can go in, talk about any ideas, any things that you want us to talk about and cover, and we can include that in some of the future podcast episodes or make a whole episode about it. So be sure to go do that. Link is in our bio or down below.
Starting with mindset, Hallie. What is the mindset of a white family?
I'm so glad you asked. I would say not even specifically, not just towards like white families, but the American mindset as a whole is very individualistic.
Yeah.
Everyone's out for themselves, right? In any capacity. It's not family oriented.
If you go to an Indian household, you'll most likely see at least minimum 6 people living in that house. That's the minimum. Walking into Hallie's house, it was her and her parents. Sometimes her brother's there. Usually not, but sometimes. And it's different. It's a different dynamic.
Were my grandparents or aunts and uncles, were any of those people ever there?
No, but you got to think, like, the reason that I think this happens is because you guys were always here. So you guys have always had that ability to go buy another house, right? So like your grandparents bought a house, and then your parents moved from that house to another house.
Yeah.
And so that causes that split. Whereas what I've seen with Indian families, it's everybody is trying to stay as close together as possible. They might have different houses, but they're very, very close together. And if you see them not hanging out on a weekend, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Yeah.
See, it's very normal in American culture to just be on your own. I mean, that's literally how people just are, especially after COVID. I think it got so much worse because people just started isolating more. I myself have done that, absolutely. And it's just the way things get, again, it goes with the individual mindset, I guess, but people in America, working culture is so different than like Europe, for example, anywhere in Europe. I work with people from Europe, and the work-life balance there is much more different than it is here, right? So like just the fact that people here, what is it? They live to live. I can't think of it right now. Which is the proper way? They live to work. And then people across the ocean usually. Is that right? They work to live?
They work to live. Wait.
I don't know why my brain's not working. Balance.
I figured it out.
Okay.
So when you live to work, which people in America do.
Okay.
People live to work. Whereas people across the ocean, they work so they can live. Like they can go do things. So they work, get the money, and then go do something. Whereas here, people live just to work.
See, my brain was not braining at that. I don't know why. Like, does that ever just happen where you say something and it just has no meaning, and then you're like, wait, is that even right?
But the mindset's there, right? The American mindset, that is it. And it is not a good mindset, I don't think.
No, because again, with the isolation and issues that people have, I know with myself, at least in the family aspect, and any issues that I have, I usually keep to myself. It's really hard for me to even talk to you about some of my problems sometimes because I'm like, oh, I don't want to put that on him, or I don't want to get him involved, or I don't want, that's the individual mindset. Like that's a bad way to be. And growing up, like we talked about issues in my family, but there were obviously still a lot of things that I'm like, oh, I'll just keep this to myself, or I don't need to tell people. I don't want to see, I don't want to share this with them. I don't want to put this on them.
And this can be very
damaging.
That, and it's also a very singular experience. You might have your white family might not experience this at all.
Yeah.
And this I want to say this because the next one, which is communication style, when it comes to talking with Hallie and a lot of the people that I've met,
the white people,
say
it, embrace it.
It's very nice. They're so nice. They're too nice.
I was going to say too nice because it can be fake nice.
It can be fake nice. You got to be careful with those white people out there.
I love how you went those what?
You gotta be careful. Okay,
you gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful.
Sometimes with the white people out there.
Sometimes they just too nice, and it can be bad. Okay, and Indian people, and not just Indian people from across the ocean. Okay, European people from all over, not Americans. This is a comparison between American people
and
versus
other countries.
Everyone else.
Like literally other countries.
Everyone else, super direct. They are very, if something is wrong, they will let you know. They're not afraid to bring up hard topics.
What is it about America that people are so sensitive? And it's hard. You have to beat around the bush to tell somebody that, for example, in a working situation, oh, you didn't do this right. Hey, I just wanted to let you know. I hope you're having a good day. You don't really hope they're having a good day. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Every time I get a message, it's, hey, how are you? You don't care. You literally do not care.
Yeah,
just tell me what you need from me.
Yeah. But then again, it's I literally had this experience today where I had somebody who's European just tell me what they needed and not be nice about it. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this for you.
Because guess what, Hallie? You're a white American.
Yeah, I am.
So you're one of the
So do you want me to just tell you what I want?
Yes.
What I want instead of being like, I love you. You don't want me to do that?
No, I like that.
Okay, do you see what I mean? Well, I am your wife, but like imagine somebody else. Like
Yeah.
imagine a friend or something.
I am very direct. And when like I whenever I message even people at work, I usually say, "Hey, this is where I'm at," or "Hey, I need this." Like I never just. I'm very
You're
direct.
also a guy.
Yeah.
You know, like
There's
maybe
differences there, yeah, for sure.
I don't know, but I know guys that will, have like a little soft intro and be like, "Hey, how are you? Hope you're having a good day. Did you have a nice weekend?" Or like, "Nice weather." Well, no, actually people don't just jump in with the weather. That's like too basic. But yeah, I will say to that point, getting married to you or dating you and being involved with your family and the directness, I appreciate that because I know how people are feeling.
Well, so
I don't know how people in my family are feeling.
that brings on a question I have for you.
What's up?
Did you talk about your feelings with your parents when you were young?
To an extent. You know what I mean? Like they knew how I felt about things and I wasn't afraid to talk to them about how I was feeling, but we also didn't do the whole like confrontation thing. Like if it was more passive, not confrontational.
Did they know what was going on in your life? Like, I would say like through high school.
I mean, like not everything, like naturally, again, with the individualist mindset, I just have a hard time sharing things with people, whether wins or losses, whatever. But they didn't know everything that was going on in my life, but they knew it. I mean, they knew about me. They knew my favorite color. They knew tons of things about me. I mean, I communicated pretty well still, everything that was going on.
I think that's the one thing that we can relate maybe just a little bit. Because I never talked about my emotions. I never talked about what was happening in school. I never talked about what was happening in my life, how I was feeling. It was mainly like I'd get home and I'd say, "Hey, I got an exam tomorrow. I got to study." And what's going to happen on the weekend? That's about it. And like going back, I'm like, what did
you do?
What did I talk to my parents about? What did I say to them? Did I just like walk in the door and go upstairs? Like, I think that's what I did. And
so
looking
ungrateful.
back,
So ungrateful.
I know. Looking back, I'm like, damn. Did I?
That's cold.
Did I even
imagine,
talk to them?
like, imagine we have kids and they just don't talk to us. I'd be heartbroken.
I talked to them a lot, but it was never like how I was feeling. It was always related to work or school.
But I will say, everybody from the Asian community that I've met, that's a common theme.
I don't know. Do you guys, anybody who's watching or listening, I want to know if you're Indian or Asian or European, whatever it may be, someone not from America, do you guys struggle, or did you struggle talking about your thoughts and emotions? Because I still, to this day, don't fully, but I talk to them way more about this stuff than I used to.
You're getting so much better. And that was like one of the biggest things, I think, even in our relationship, as we started dating, you would just be like, yeah, no, yes or no, or like maybe, or I don't know. And I remember saying to you, I need more than that, right? Like I need you to communicate with me because I'm a big communicator.
Big communicator.
I like knowing what's going on like every second. I like when you talk to me and tell me exactly how you're feeling because I can't read your mind.
I really struggled, especially at the beginning of our relationship, just to like talk to you about what I was feeling. It's a funny story. The day before I was asking Hallie out to be my girlfriend, actually, I was texting her and be like, "Hey, what would you say if I were to, ask you out?" And
You
texted
didn't
her
say
this.
it like that.
I
You
said,
worded
like,
it weird, and I was like,
ask you a
what is
question.
he-
I said, what if I were to ask you a very important question? Like what?
Yeah, and I
that's
was
the
like, what the hell? What kind of
stupidest-
question? I remember reading it to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, what does this even mean? She was like, I don't know. Neither one of us knew.
I was so uncomfortable to talk about my emotions, ask questions that were uncomfortable because I had never done it. I had never, ever done it to anybody. I was afraid to say I love you. I was afraid to like show those emotions. Like even to this day, I've said this so many times. I don't say I love you back to anyone except Hallie
Guilty.
because I just don't know what to do.
You just say it back.
I know, but it feels different.
Like to your own parents, you don't say I love you.
I do once
I've never
a
heard you say
year, but like it just was never said. So like I feel uncomfortable about it.
I get that. It's hard for me to like.
It's not like I don't want to say it. Like, I love them. I love my parents. I can say that. That's easy. But going face to face to my mom, be like, Mom, I love you. It's like, it's so easy to think about, but like, I don't know.
See, you don't have to just be like, Mom, I love you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be creepy about it. But like, which she said it, I've heard her say it like a handful of times. And which it's special to me because one, like you said, growing up, like you just didn't really say it. And like, that's totally understandable. A lot of people don't. Like, that's just, I don't know, like maybe it's just a super, super American thing that people just kind of say it without thinking. I know that when your mom says it, she means it, right? So I appreciate that. Like, she actually genuinely means that. Whereas some people just say, oh, love you, love you. Well, first off, there's a difference between I love you and love you.
Yes.
And there have been times earlier on in our relationship when you would say love you, and I would be like,
better say with the I
love you, Hallie.
This is a perfect segue into parenting.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to parenting, my parents were very strict. I think they were strict. They might, like, looking back, they weren't as strict as other parents that I knew. At the time, I was like, oh, dude, my parents are so strict. Like, I got to do my homework. I put those pressures on myself, though, I think. But my parents, in terms of getting my work done, coming home on time, very strict. That was making sure I was home on time. That was strict for sure. What about you?
More or less on the firm side, but very supportive. I had those parents. They're very supportive. And not those parents, but like very supportive.
To my fellow Indians out there, what is the word supportive?
Oh, you want to know?
I have no idea what that even means.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Supportive of my endeavors. And they did not, I mean, they were like, you know, when I started driving, you have to be home by this time, but I never got in trouble for that.
The support we got was definitely a push. Like, we were pushed to go to our maximum when it came to education. So that helped me a lot. I think it helped. It was hard, but I see why they did it because they themselves didn't do that. Like, my parents didn't get the college education. They don't have any of that. And so they wanted their kids to make sure that they were successful. And so they pushed us to make sure that we did that. So
which makes sense. Yeah. As they should. I mean, I think there's an extent to which parents should push their children in any case.
Yes, exactly. And so the parenting style, the things that are written down is strict, emphasizing discipline, obedience. That's a big one. And academic success. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go to obedience.
Oh.
Because I enjoyed showing respect to my parents, but there was definitely a period of time in high school where I did not show them as much respect as I should have.
Yeah, like when you got your first ticket and you expected them to pay for it.
That was pretty bad. Pretty bad. And so that was not good. And whenever I didn't show obedience, I definitely I got what was handed to me. I got it handed for sure.
Yeah, you got what was coming to
you. Were you ever like disobedient to your parents?
No, because I was so deeply afraid of disappointing them, which has carried me into my adult life. It's bad.
What, did you like do things that would disappoint them then? Like, why were you so scared? Like, what made you scared?
Because I didn't do anything wrong. That sounds so ridiculous.
You didn't do anything wrong, then why were you scared?
Because I loved my parents so much that I didn't want to do anything that would hurt them or disappoint them or bring shame onto the family. That was just, yeah.
Is that what support does to you?
Yeah.
Is that what love and support does?
Probably.
Interesting.
I just have this deep-rooted fear of disappointing people because I've become such a deep and terrible people pleaser. I hate it.
People pleasing is not a good thing.
No, it's terrible. I'm 25 and I care about what people think too much. I'm getting a lot better at it, but still, it's something that doesn't just go away, right? It takes time. You have to work on it and get it out. I want it gone. I don't care. I don't want to care about what people think at all. And I'm getting a lot better.
Anything else with your parents that you want to mention?
Yeah, so I mean, my parents, like, they were involved, right? Like, they were very, from the moment that I was born, well, I mean, yeah, you know, as parents, they came to everything of mine, right? And this is an interesting point that I want to bring up too, just because like I was very involved in sports, music, all the things, and my parents came to everything, which is hard because I have a brother as well, so they kind of had to split sometimes what they would go to, or like who would go to this, who would go to that, whatever, because my brother was a runner and an orchestra, I was in band and I did volleyball and I mean other sports as well, but those were like the main ones that took up all the time. And so they were very, very, very involved and like knew exactly what was going on with sports. They knew what was going on with my friends. Did your parents know that you had friends?
That is a negative.
So no.
No. They knew I had friends. They didn't know who they were.
Oh. Did they ever come over?
That is a no.
See, my friends came over all the time.
Yeah,
sleepovers, hangouts.
I would be the one going over to other people's houses, and that's why I had that strict deadline of getting home at a certain time.
What was the time?
It was usually I'd start getting calls around 7, and then by 9:30 it'd start happening every 5 minutes. Like, get home now.
Were you always like able to hang out with people, or like at what age did you start hanging out with people?
I got a car. I got a license. It changed my life.
And you were out.
Getting a car and a license. Woo! Dang, that literally opened my eyes to the entire world. I was going places. I was hanging out with people. I was going to football games.
Oh, those were the days.
I was just having a blast. Okay, and I remember I got my license. The first thing I did was I got milk for my mom. My mom needed milk.
So you're a milkman?
Oh my God,
That's what it means, everybody.
Anyways, I had to go get the milk. So I got the milk. That was the first errand I ever ran with a license by myself. And it was the greatest moment of my life. And I since that day, I love driving. I love having a license. I love being able to go wherever I want.
So it sounds like the involvement was not there as much.
For me?
Yeah. Is it because you chose not to tell them things?
That's a great question. I guess I did. I chose not to tell them things because I thought they were too busy. Right? Like
too busy,
my
or they'd
parents
be
were
upset?
busy. And they might be upset. Well, I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Let's ask them.
That's a great
You wanna
question.
call?
We should ask why did you know I had friends? First, okay, I'm going to ask a question. I'll come back to you guys later, okay? I'll come back to you in a future episode. We need to write this down and make sure that we get back to you. I'm going to ask them, did you know I had friends? Where did you think I was when I was not home? That's a good question.
Okay, they're going to be like, what were you doing?
And the last thing I want to ask them is, were you scared when I got a license?
I'm writing all these down.
Okay, so I'll come back to you guys who are listening and watching on these questions and see what they say. I might just record and put the clip in at some point in the future podcast episode, but that's a good question to ask. I'm just so much more comfortable now with my parents. Like, I'm not afraid to ask them questions. I'm not afraid to do anything. Like, I can talk to them about anything. Whereas when I was growing up, I just wasn't there because I didn't see it. I didn't see my sisters do it, right? So I was like, I'm not going to do it if they're not doing it.
The older siblings always set the example because I have an older brother too, and he's the same. I mean, we're like very similar. So it's interesting because I would say the biggest flex in life is when you become friends with your parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a different kind of relationship, and I love it because it just feels like just catching up with these two little bit older people that know me very well, and we can hang out and it's easy, and like, we have our similarities, our differences, and it's not like I'm trying to, like, I'm not dependent on them anymore, and I don't live under their roof. So it's just a different relationship when you do that. It's different, but it's better.
I think it's the biggest difference when it comes to, back to like the main point, right, of American families and Indian families / just not American families. When it comes to your parents are, they're a guiding factor and they have a lot of say in what is happening in your life. Whereas I feel like in American culture, your parents are there. I'm not saying my parents don't support it, but they're there to support and watch you do your thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas my parents were they're guiding me towards a specific direction. And I think that's typical. Like from a young age, like at when I was like 5 years old, I knew that I wanted to be an engineer. Like I just knew. And if I look back at like the things that were happening around me, my sister was going to be an engineer. My dad always watched things like How It's Made, you know, like that show.
Oh, I love that show.
And he put things in front of me that involved engineering. Like I knew about Tesla when it first came to life in 2008, like when the Roadster came out, like stuff that was like engineering feats that were amazing, things in software. We got a computer when we were like, I just was so interested in that kind of stuff. And it's because it was put in front of me. And there's a reason behind it. It's because they wanted me to be interested in these things. And I think there's a little more direction towards that than there's more guidance than I thought that I was being given, you know?
Yeah, because I was just thinking about this the other day. I had a broad sense of guidance. What I wanted to do with that was my decision, right? Yeah. And it's funny. Like I said, we were just talking about this the other day. But even in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't care about where I went to school, which sounds crazy. I mean, I'm so happy that I ended up going to IUPUI because that's, you know, where we spent a ton of time together, and it was a really good place for me to figure out an option of what I wanted to do as a career. But I didn't know what I wanted to do then. I don't know what I want to do now. It's just a really common recurring theme in my life. And I just think that's so crazy.
So it's a good and bad thing, right?
Yeah.
There can be positives, there can be negatives if you kind of let them do whatever they want versus having some kind of guidance towards a direction that they know is going to be successful, you know?
Yeah. And with our discussion wrapping up on parenting, I want to move into the family structures, right?
We mentioned a little bit about this.
We did, but I want to tap in on it a little bit more. My family is just really my immediate family, right? Like it's me, my brother, my parents, my grandma. I'm talking about people who are still living. My grandma I'm close to, and my cousin, and my aunt, and my brother's wife. And that's about it. It's a very tight-knit group. We're a very small family. So that's my immediate family. How big is your immediate family?
I have my mom and dad. I have 3 sisters. They're all married, so they're husbands. They each have 1 child. And then on top of that, my mom has 2 sisters and 2 brothers. And each of them have their own kids, which are my cousins. And then on my dad's side, he has 5 sisters. Each of them have their own kids, which are my cousins. And those cousins all have their own families. So they're much older than me. And so if you add them all up, I've done it before, it reaches around the 100 to 140 mark. Just first cousins and their kids. So it gets pretty large pretty quick.
That's your immediate family.
And that's just like, cousins. Immediate family.
I'm nowhere close to that. Quick shout out, since Sylvia's right here. I just want to mention this because she's my baby. Saturday is her June 6th is her 3rd birthday.
Everybody in the comment down below, you all have to say happy birthday, Sylvie. She's turning 3.
Sylvie. My angel. She's impacted our lives in so many amazing ways, and I'm so thankful for her and that you guys love her. Look how cute she is. Look how cute she is.
Sylvie, because we're taking this little break for you, we're also going to mention that you need to go to thecumanclub.com if you want some food that you really you just don't want to make Indian food sometimes, and it's hard. It's not easy. And that's why Cumin Club's got you. And if you use Hallie's code
Hallie25
for 25% off, that'll give you 25% off the Cumin Club.
Amazing. Code down below. Please go check it out. And when you said FOOD, that's why I said because that's what she knows that word.
It's
Sylvie
time.
loves,
Right now, everybody, it is 5:10, and so it is time for her dinner. You can't say the F word, the FOOD word.
The 4-letter F word.
Because if you
FOOD.
say it, she'll start going crazy.
Yeah.
So family structures, the family structures are big. Okay, they're massive on the Indian side, and some are not, but most are, and that gives you some different opportunities that you might not have.
Yes, and I will say one of the biggest things that I noticed right off the bat, like, for example, if, like, when I was, we've talked about it a million times, but I'm going to talk about it again. When I was in the hospital last year, like, my mom showed up and you showed up. There were like 4 of your family members that showed up because it's more of a community aspect. Like they're like, you guys are so family oriented. And I love that because I've noticed that is such a trend in my life where our family's like, oh, I don't want to go. Again, with the individualistic mindset, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. You guys show up for family respect.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is, like, you can't split it up. It can be a good and bad thing. Like if like, for example, today, 4th of July is coming up and my family's going to be hanging out. I'm not going to be there alone with my parents. If I go, all my sisters are going, like they will be there. Mm-hmm. Right. And they're not just going alone. I'm not going alone. They're going to bring their significant others. Okay. That just add 15 people right there. And so it just keeps going and going and going. And it could be a good and a bad thing.
But us white people don't do that. If people don't want to show up, they don't show up. And then it's just a really tiny, awkward group of people.
See, the thing is, if you don't show up in the Indian family, someone's going to talk about you. You can't do that.
You're getting talked about.
Can't get talked about. So you got to go or you're going to get judged. Don't get judged.
Well, gossip spreads much faster.
There's just more people. More people causes more talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's absolutely understandable.
That's easy. That's an easy solution right there. Okay. Now, cultural practice and traditions, and I'm gonna ball this up into one big topic, including religion. Okay, so cultural practices, traditions, religion. When it comes to the American household, the white household, explain, Hallie. What kinds of traditions do you guys have? What kind of cultural aspects do you guys have?
We have steak and taters, and no, that's food.
No, that's tradition. It's tradition. You can't say that's not tradition.
Listen, let me just break down the holidays that we have. Let's start with that.
The first time I went over to Hallie's house for dinner or lunch, I had corn. I had
mashed potatoes, chicken,
and I had like a bread. What is it? Just bread?
A roll.
A roll?
Yeah.
It was wild that people ate this kind of food, and I
was like, "Where am I?"
I was so confused because
what were you used to eating for lunch?
It wasn't spicy. I was like, "What is this? What is this?" There's no spice.
So bland. Can you get me some ketchup? Can you get me some pepper? Make it a little spicy. See, what's crazy to me is some white people can't even handle like pepper because they think that's too spicy. That's absurd to me. But anyways,
it was a wild experience, but I love the food. It's good. It's just not spicy, but
hey, we're adjusting, we're adapting. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing too about us being an interracial couple is I still like some of those traditional foods, but I'm able to incorporate more flavor into it, which makes it a very beautiful fusion dish. Anyways, I want to break down the holidays that we have because I think that's important, whether they just be in general like 4th of July or religious holidays. We've got 4th of July, which my family usually does like a grill out for, which is fun. We've got Easter, which we always have. Easter, which is a religious holiday, obviously, for people who are Christian and Catholic. I mean, yeah, just in general, Easter is a religious holiday. So we have traditional foods. I can't remember what we have there, but it's like the same thing every year. We've got Christmas, my birthday. They're kind of tied into one. And we do the same stuff for that every year. That's like a whole spread of food. And that's really kind of whatever I want it to be because it's my birthday. So I get to kind of pick, which is nice. But we've got those religious holidays that are celebrated every year, right? Yeah. And there are more that I'm forgetting to include.
I love Thanksgiving.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving and July 4th are tied for my 2 favorite holidays. They're completely different times of the year, but food is always amazing. Activities are great. I love those two.
And
anyways,
something that Hallie's family always does for me is make separate things without like meat, which I really appreciate. And so that's something that, traditionally there's a lot of meat that is eaten on the American side, but because I don't usually eat the meat and that that is made separately, and it's a lot of work to make something like that separate, right? And so that's something we usually do to make sure that we have the for me to be able to go eat the things that you guys make.
You don't eat the meat?
I don't eat the meat, guys. I do not eat the meat.
But those are the holidays that we have that are pretty standard, some of them religious. And so with that comes church services and family gatherings. And that's about it. We don't really do anything in the home besides get together for a good meal, celebrate, talk, hang out, and that's about it. Now, I want to go to you so that you can talk about some of your holidays, religious holidays, and things, traditions that you do within the house and with family.
There's a lot, especially like when it comes to, when it gets closer to the end of the year, we have Diwali, we have Garba, we have Bhai Beach, we have Raksha Bandhan, we have all these holidays that happen a lot during like after July. And so it's a ton of things that are happening. I love it. It's so fun. And it's very different, very colorful, a lot of food, a lot of food.
Big fan.
Usually very traditional Gujarati food, which I always love. But those are just a few of the things that we do. A lot I guess we go to the temple sometimes, but it's usually just the mandir, right? You know, you just go to the mandir at my parents' house. We have one here too, but if there is like more of a religious holiday, go to the mandir, do your prayers, do whatever you need to, and then that's it. It's fun. It's good. It's a good experience. Hallie's gotten to experience some of those things as well. It's, I would say, a very important aspect of my culture and religion.
It's been very neat to see, first off, experiencing so many different kinds. Like, growing up in America, like you've seen, or maybe not experienced, but like seen a lot of Easters or Christmases, or like you celebrated your own Christmas. You know, like there are different versions of that. There's only like one version really of some of the like Hindu religious traditions. You know, like it's been very eye-opening to me because it's really neat that, yes, like the older, like everyone carries on the same tradition. So like your parents did this stuff when they were younger, and like you in your mid-20s and like your sisters, you're all doing it, and like you've learned it and you practice it, which I think is just really cool because you're passing that down and it'll just continue to get passed down, which I think is really cool. But I want to go back to my religious holidays. So like Christmas and Easter, like the first two biggest ones.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea what Christmas and Easter really meant, by the way, until I met Hallie, and then she explained it, and it makes a lot more sense. If you don't know what it means, you should actually like look it up and understand the reason that they do it, because it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very special reason. So I've not been as great because my home church is in the place that I grew up. I haven't really found one here. Like I don't actively go to church, and I am what people sometimes so lovingly call a creaster, which is where you only go to church on Christmas and Easter.
I believe that God is everywhere around you, and he's not watching you go to church on Sunday, okay? And I think that's just my own belief. You know, you don't have to believe me, but that's something that I've always believed. That's something my dad has always said, like, God's everywhere. He's around you. So if you need to pray, you pray. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you don't have to go to church. It doesn't mean that you don't have to go, but you also, if you want to go, it doesn't matter. It's a decision that you make yourself. It doesn't make you a bad person. I never want anybody to ever, especially like religious things. Religion is placed there to give you direction, give you purpose, give you some moral ideas, right? It gives you the ability to, you know, have some decision making in your head, and it'll never be like, it's never going to be something where if you make a decision, it's a bad decision. Okay. The reason that you have a religion is because these are things that you yourself want to do. It's an individual thing. Mm-hmm. It's your own. Mm-hmm. Just remember that.
Last one that I want to talk about, which we touched on just a little bit, is food.
Good old food. There's so much food. American food is great. Indian food is great.
Gujarati style food, which we're about to go have, I could not be more excited for. It just, it's so good. See, like when I think of, quote, traditional American food, like some people say steak and potatoes, right? I didn't grow up eating that really. I eat a lot of chicken. And I don't know, American food, a lot, like, it's interesting because when you think of American food, maybe people say pizza. Pizza is like Italian, right? It's not like American. Or like, Mexican food, or like tacos. Taco is Mexican food. You know what I mean? So like, I grew up eating all kinds of different things, but it wasn't until I didn't start eating Indian food until we started dating.
Yeah.
So like, I hadn't expanded my taste, my palate just yet.
Was the first time you had Indian food at India Bistro?
We'd grabbed it and you were like, here, do you want to try some? We were at my house because you were about to take it to like a family dinner.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember the first time I tried some paneer tikka with rice and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is good.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was like, it's just cheese. It's just cheese and some tomato soup. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I took a bite because I was a really picky eater back then. I have changed my tastes in, oh my gosh, I will eat anything now. I'm not a big seafood person, a raw fish person, but I will pretty much eat anything.
I like seafood. It's good.
Yeah.
The only reason I like it is because I started traveling and I got to experience different kinds of food. Mm-hmm. So it's all right. It's good.
But it's so interesting, like obviously us growing up in our two very separate families, what I would eat and how food was just kind of meh. Like, you eat it because it tastes good more, whereas your experience with food was completely different.
Yeah, when it comes to the food that I ate, right, growing up, it was the same, cha in the morning. You drink your cha. And I ate, it's going to sound weird, I ate my cereal with my cha, no milk. I just ate it with my cha.
I like how you say that's weird as you're 26 and you do that.
I do that, yeah. But whatever, okay? You can say what you guys want to say, but I think it tastes amazing. Don't knock it till you try it. That's what I got to say to that. So it's great. That's what I ate in the morning. And then for lunch, it was always rice and dal. That was it. And then for dinner, it was sak and rotli. That was it. It was amazing. It was great. But that was it every single day. Sak was different every day. It was something different. But it was still sak and rotli, right? And that's kind of, I ate to eat. I ate because I had to eat. I never ate because I wanted, because I was like, I cannot wait for some sak and rotli. Oh. No, I didn't do that. I was always like, shoot, time to eat. It's 7:00, time to eat. Yeah.
But you just it wasn't an enjoyable experience for you. You just ate to provide your body with food and energy. And
I don't know. I never liked eating. It was just something that I think it's because I didn't whenever I ate, I was never taking my time.
You weren't
eating,
savoring it.
I never did that. And I never told my mom what I wanted.
Did she
She always asked. What do you want to eat? And I was like, whatever, because I didn't care. I knew that whatever happens, whatever's on the plate, I'm gonna eat it. And I never expressed what I wanted to eat because I didn't know what I wanted. Because I never tried enough food.
It's a very interesting perspective.
I would say whenever my mom made Mexican food, I was super excited. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta eat some chimichangas.
Because it was like Indian fusion Mexican food, which, yeah.
And I don't know, it's just different. The food aspect of growing up was different for me. And I don't know if everybody experienced the same thing I did, but having the same thing often kind of deters you from liking it as much.
I get that. And I've tried to think about this, I don't remember a whole lot of.
You don't remember eating chicken nuggets?
No, I do. See, but that would be a meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to say that because I ate because it tasted good, right? I wouldn't, again, I was a very picky eater, so I wish that I would have cared more about what I put in my body because I wish that I would have formed healthier habits. But I'm trying to think of like some of the other things that I would eat growing up, and it would vary. Like breakfast, I never really was a breakfast person, so I would probably not eat anything, or if it was something, it was probably something not good for me, like pancakes or like I struggled with my weight up until just really like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when I started to get it together. And I had really poor eating habits, and I see now the impact that had on me. And I don't know, some families are way different in the sense that they want you to be nutritious and they provide you with the tools to eat healthy and take care of yourself. But I don't know. I didn't really know much about that. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about eating healthy. I just wanted food to taste good. And I think that's such an interesting take that you have.
Yeah.
Whereas you just ate to eat. Because would you say it was really nutritious for you? Or like, how did your body feel?
I was always like hungry.
Because we had two very different sizes. Like I was bigger, you were tiny.
Yeah, like I'd never like eat and be like, oh yeah, I am full. Never, like that never happened unless I was eating out like somewhere else.
See, how much did you eat out?
Well, like once a month, maybe max. Wow. Even through high school, the only reason I ever ate out was like I ate like Chick-fil-A maybe.
And B-dubs style. American culture is so different. Everybody eats out like all the time.
Yeah, I did not eat out. I didn't have money to eat out. Until when I got money, I started eating out a little bit more.
Interesting. Yeah, that's crazy because I feel like I ate out quite a bit and I wouldn't eat. I wasn't on a good eating schedule either. Like food just wasn't really like prioritized, but in a different way that your food was prioritized. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And I was so scared to eat out because no matter what, my mom is making dinner.
Yeah.
No matter what. So if I ate out and I come home and I don't eat her food, woo,
it's over.
It is over. I'm going to eat. I have to eat her food. So like even if I ate out, like I ate her food. So then she didn't know that I ate out. And I would always know this. Like if I ate at Hallie's house while I was in high school, I'd come home and I would eat whatever was home as well.
It's so weird.
Because I was so scared to tell my mom that I'm not going to eat. Because she made the food. You don't want to disrespect your mom. So, it's very scary. I'm very scared of my mom at the time. Not anymore. But in high school.
Besties now. Everyone's besties.
Very scary in high school, everybody. Very scary.
Because she had purpose that she was trying to
She had a
crack
van
down.
She was not afraid to use the van. Not afraid.
Oh my gosh.
But that is it, everybody. It was so fun going through Indian family versus a white family. It's always interesting to see the differences in how we grew up and how we have become who we are because of that.
Yeah, that could be a whole episode. Yeah. How we are who we are because of our childhood.
Remember, I said I'm going to go through the comments because you guys commented on the last episode. So the last episode was about questions. All the questions: getting divorced, moving to New York City.
You're a milkman.
I'm a milkman. Apparently, someone put the definition: a person that handles the wife when the husband or boyfriend is away.
I'm not in another relationship. I just want to put that.
What does that mean, Hallie? So you think I'm the milkman? So I'm the one handling you while the other guy's out?
Okay, first off, don't say that you're handling me. That makes me uncomfortable.
I don't like that. Somebody said, don't diss California. I'm sorry that we diss California.
I just don't like it.
Hey, California is great. It's a great place. It is beautiful.
It is.
It's too beautiful.
I'm just not into it. It's too much for me.
It's too beautiful.
It is.
Calm down. Why is it always 70 degrees and sunny over there? I don't get it.
Why is it perfect weather all the time? I don't know. Can't relate here. Indiana is nowhere near that.
Pranav said that. Darian, she's, I'm pretty sure, Russian. She said, okay, how does YouTube know I'm watching or listening to the video? They have analytics that show screen time. That's why I mentioned, the reason she said that is because I mentioned that a lot of you guys are actually watching the video compared to listening, which is awesome. Tarek said, I love being normal, even though I am the most abnormal person in the world. Everybody is abnormal. Nobody is normal.
Nobody's normal.
So K2 and Hallie, what are both your 5K times? My high school 5K time was 18:59. I cannot run that now at all.
You could if you tried.
I could if I tried, but I cannot run that. The last 5K I ran was a 22:40, and the last 5K Hallie ran was a 22:04.
That was the third 5K I've ever run in my whole life, so I don't know how to race them. I've just been doing my half marathon training, and I need to incorporate more track workouts into my training. I cannot just keep running miles. And so, yeah, I need to figure out how to race that, because I would like to do more, because my goal would be sub 21, which I would be happy with. If I could run like 20:40, oh my gosh, I'd be so happy. And then if I could just keep bringing it down from there, that'd be fantastic. But that's going to take some time.
A lot of the people who are commenting have their names like back to back, like their first name and last name. So I don't know where it ends and where it starts. So Surav, I'm just going to guess your name is Sura? I don't know. Sarah? Sarah? I don't know. Okay. What about Chicago? You get big city vibes and still affordable and quality of living.
See, I grew up going to Chicago my whole life, and it doesn't really do anything for me. It's a cool place, but I wouldn't want to live there. New York is chaotic, and I love it there.
I've been to Chicago many times. It is a very large city, yes, but it's also, it's just different.
Something about each city has its own different little vibe.
Maybe if
aesthetic.
we go back and experience it, like really experience it, because like we visit a lot, but we don't stay there ever.
Yeah.
So
I've stayed there for almost a week once, and I was younger. There's more things for me to do now that I'm older. And we've never been just you and me to like do our own things. So maybe that would make a difference.
Dixit Gandhi said, London is awesome. Go visit Wembley Stadium. It's massive. I would love to go do that.
I would love that. I would love that so much.
Matt said, Hallie, I'm 31 and I don't have anything figured out. You'll know what's right when you know, and not a second sooner. But life is long and always changing and pretty fun. So enjoy the moment while you're in it.
I feel seen. Thank you. That's my favorite comment from the last video. I love that. And that made me feel a little bit better. Just, I appreciate, one, that people watch this and can relate, and two, that people are also kind and understanding that we definitely don't have anything figured out, and that's okay. And we're just putting the knowledge that we have out here and hoping for the best.
I Am Kumar said, I think my fave question was about the high school memory. It feels so nostalgic thinking about mine.
Oh, I love that for you. It does feel nostalgic, and it's such a good feeling. I love thinking about how much fun we had in high school and the good old days. I mean, the good old days are now too. They're never not good days. You know what I mean? But things were much simpler back then, and it was when we first started to fall in love. So I love that you're also feeling nostalgic about your high school.
And the last comment from Hallie Patel, it's Monday, y'all.
That sounds so twangy of me. Yeehaw!
And that's it, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Remember, we have a website, www.halfpastshot.com, if you want to go there and submit your questions. We also have a blog coming out. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. There's an ability to comment there as well. Hallie is writing some of them, and I'm going to try and help her as much as I can, but I'm not a great writer.
I prefer to do the writing and the creative parts of our website and stuff that we do.
Half-Past Crew, we love you. Thank you for the support. We're so excited to continue growing this podcast and this community. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already. And as always, we'll see you next Monday at Half Past Cha.
Happy birthday, Sylvie. Mwah. Mommy loves you.
She's ready for food. She's a little camera shy.
Sylvie, you want food?